that is typically going to be our Prince-Ridley sea turtles. Now I do want to tell you about one of these green sea turtles, and that is Bandit, who's hanging out here in this front cage. And Bandit right now is probably one of our most active and kind of a fan favorite here in our hospital. So, Bandit was originally brought into our care due to a boat strike injury that happened almost 2 years ago. Now, boat strikes are unfortunately very common in sea turtles. It actually accounts for about 40% of why we see sea turtles wash up here on board the boats. And those boat strikes do a lot of damage to their top shell. Now, turtle shells are actually, believe it or not, made out of bone, the same bone that makes up our skeletal systems on the inside. So what I have here to show you is not a sea turtle shell, but this is a common sounding turtle shell. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And that is that bone, and then you have a layer of keratin, which is the same stuff that makes up our fingernail or our hair, which covers the top and gives them some of that color, that pattern, and that shine. But if we flip a turtle shell over, you might see where we have a big problem when we have big injuries to shells like boat strikes or car strikes. And that is that in all turtle species, their spine is completely fused to that top shell. And so that means that anytime we have these major injuries, we do have to worry about spinal damage. And that is exactly what happened in Bandit's case. So that boat strike kind of hit her lower back area, and it did actually fracture her spine. Now, Bandit is actually a paralyzed sea turtle. So as you watch her swim around, you'll notice she's using those really big front flippers to push herself through the water. But those smaller back flippers, which typically help our sea turtles steer and turn and be very agile in the water, they no longer work, and they do just drift behind her. Now, don't get me wrong, Bandit has figured out how to get around in her tank pretty well, so she's what we lovingly like to call a front-wheel drive turtle now. So she uses those big front flippers, not only for pushing herself, but for turning herself. But one side effect of that is that she is one of our splashiest patients we currently have here in our care. Now, as you watch Bandit hang out in her tank here, you might notice that she does have something attached to the top of her shell. And I do think that is the number one question we get about her is, what is that black patch? And it's a great one, so I'll tell you. That there is actually a weight pouch. Now, the reason why Bandit has to wear a weight pouch, and that is because when that boat strike happened, it did a lot of nerve damage to her shell. And those nerves are how our turtles control what we call their buoyancy, or how they float. So, in Bandit's case, if we actually took that weight pouch off, what you would see is her back end now floats way above her front end. And this is a permanent thing that happened to her due to that boat strike injury. So, in order to help her get around and swim, what we've had to do is attach that weight pouch to the back of her shell to kind of balance her out so she has a much easier time getting around on her own. Now, it is unfortunately due to this flotation problem as well as her paralyzation that Bandit is deemed as a non-releasable sea turtle. And that is not an easy decision for us to make because our goal is always to get these guys back out into the wild. But first and foremost, we want to put their quality of life first. And in Bandit's case, she would not have had a very long or very successful life out in the wild with these conditions. So that's why we deem her as non-releasable. Now, in Bandit's case, that does mean that right now we're looking for a more permanent home for her at a zoo or an aquarium, where she can have a lot more space than what we can offer her here in our hospital, but also have access to that medical care that she's likely going to need the rest of her life. And since Bandit is going to the zoo or an aquarium, it does mean that she's actually going to be a turtle with a job. And her job is to be an ambassador for her species and talk about these different threats that face our sea turtles out in the wild. And as such, she is practicing her messaging, so she does have a message for each and every one of you. And that is not that she wants you to stop boating, but rather she wants you to be a wildlife safe and wildlife conscious boater. Meaning, follow your boating laws. Those are there not only for human safety, but for wildlife safety. And also, always be vigilant and always keep an eye out for other wildlife in the water with you. Air-breathing animals like our sea turtles have to come up to the surface, and that's typically when these boat strikes unfortunately happen. Now, if you are someone who does not really enjoy going out boating, that doesn't mean you can't help as well. And in fact, all of you right now are actually our first line of defense in finding our turtles and getting them the medical care that they might need. So, as you are here in Georgia and you're walking along our beaches or out on a boat, if you ever come across a turtle or any other marine mammal that's clearly in need of help, whether they are injured, in distress, somewhere they're probably not supposed to be, or you really don't know, but you're concerned enough about an animal, you want an expert's opinion, there's a really easy phone number that you can give a call. And that phone number is going to be 1-800-2-SAVE-ME. It is a stranding hotline run by our Department of Natural Resources. They'll be able to send someone out, evaluate the situation, and if that animal or that turtle does in fact need medical care, that is when they get brought to us right here at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center. So like I said, you are that first line of defense for all of our animals that we have here on our coast. Now, each and every one of you just visiting us today, though, you have already helped all of our turtles that you see here, including Bandit. And that is because ultimately, this hospital would not exist if it weren't for people like yourselves wanting to come and visit us and learn a little bit more about our turtles. So, me and our patients, we are very grateful to each and every one of you for coming out today. If anyone has any questions, I'll be hanging out down here for a little while to answer those. But if not, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day exploring here at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center and on Jekyll Island. Thank you for coming.